Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. To the thoughts and opinions kind of section, I want to add one more video about a quote that's been in my head for a couple of days, and it's really interesting, I think, because it makes a very clear distinction on perspective upon conflict. The quote is not made by a man that a person that I think can be viewed as a wise man, but even so, it has a certain deepness to it. Um, Man, of course, has some accomplishments and can be viewed as a very successful, and he's a celebrity. Um, but I cannot deem him as a wise man myself. So the quote is made by Mike Tyson, and it's following: everyone has a plan till they get punched in the mouth. Hard to disagree with it, right? But I think it's interesting if we look at it from multiple perspectives. The first perspective, I think, is if we think about what the author really meant by the quote, is probably meant to encompass fighting as a sport, right? So he was a boxer, Mike Tyson. So I think what he meant with the quote is that, inside the ring, you can plan all you want, but when stuff goes down, that plan kind of goes out the window. It's not feasible anymore because being vicious, being in the moment, and being fierce, I think, is what matters most, not planning and being stuck inside your head, especially in the moment when you're fighting. And of course, I think it's a little bit of an emphasis on training as well, indirectly. So having a well done training and experience will make you better than planning, right? Than trying to analyze and think. Which takes us to the second perspective, I think, which is the person that does plan, that does analyze in the ring or outside the ring. I think in the ring, I haven't fought myself, to be honest. But what I think I would do if I were in that position is that I would try to keep my guard up while spotting openings, right, where you can attack your opponent. And what I mean by that is that you can, you analyze stuff, you try to think on a plan and try to do that, but being in the moment, as Mike Tyson says, might be more important than trying to plan ahead, right? And working with the circumstances that you have is more of a short-term action, kind of tactical thinking, rather than a strategic way of planning and seeing how to get to a certain result. So yeah, I think the perspective from the second person is that you can be as smart as you want, but when you get punched in the mouth, there's no way you can think your way out of that. So you need to act, right, basically. And if we look outside the ring on physical confrontations, of course, physical violence and physical confrontation is, I would say, the lowest form of a conflict that can exist, which I think is, it's very raw and brutal. And I know there's some people who can't. I wasn't I'm still not a fan of watching fighting, watching even boxing or UFC or whatever. I don't really see I understand it as a point of physical prowess and of conflict resolution and of demonstrating that you are better in a way, and I get that, but I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. Which brings me to another perspective, which is the fact that conflict itself has many ways of being approached. One of it's physical, of course, which, like I said, I think is the lowest form that there can exist. You can have debates, you can have disagreements and stuff like that on certain ideas, where what I mean is outside the ring. And I think that a way of looking at it, at the saying, everyone has a plan till they get punched in the mouth. One way of looking at it is that the planning and all the high level kind of conflict type of resolutions and maybe subtle manipulations that exist through language and through trying to convince someone kind of go out the window when someone jumps physically, right? When someone kind of brings the conflict to a physical level, that's when it kind of you cannot go back to a higher level. It just brings you down to the lowest form of conflict. And usually people that do that are not savvy enough to participate in a conflict in a more refined fashion, like having a verbal disagreement or a debate or something like that. So they're basically dragging you down to their level. Yeah, and I think it's hard to get back up when you're there, but it also shows. I think it shows weakness when you do that, because it's more of an insecurity, I think. But yeah, I think those were my thoughts on this quote. If you have anything to add, or if you found it interesting, write it down in the comments below. I'm always interested to find out what you guys think of the content I put out. Yeah, like, subscribe, share, all that, to put the video in a better position in the algorithm, and see you in the next one. Thanks a lot for watching or listening, and all the best to you. Have a great day.